Thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm Mike Silva, Director of Digital Operations with fusionZONE Automotive, and I'm joined today by Chris King with Wheels TV. Session that we're going to review today should take probably about 20 to 30 minutes. We wanted to leave ample time at the end for any kind of questions. If you do have any questions, feel free to shoot them over in the chat. We'll also open things up towards the end of the webinar for an active Q&A session. Be sure to stick around. Also, you can hear a little bit about the limited time promotion that we're running. And of course, as I mentioned, any questions that you may have, we will certainly review that with you. So a little bit about what we're going to discuss today. What brings us here? The big thing that we want to get into is consumers are now more informed than ever before. Demand for visual content is an all-time high. fusionZONE, as well as Wheels TV, identified this opportunity, partnered up to bring video content directly to VDPs. A lot of great information that we're going to cover here in a moment. Chris is going to dive you through kind of the new video economy that has emerged over the last couple of years, and the time to act is now. So we feel that providing this video content on our websites equips the consumers with research tools, kind of facilitates the car buying process, and instills trust along the way. As I mentioned, we're going to go through just exactly what the video economy is and how our Wheels TV videos will benefit both the consumer and, of course, dealerships that implement them on their websites. With that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Chris. Chris, if you want to go ahead, and we'll get rocking and rolling.
Great, thanks, Mike. It's great to be with you, and thanks. We're super excited about our partnership with you. So maybe just talk about a little bit about what we're going to be going over. So a little bit about the partnerships, as Mike had said, we are a video test drive company, which I'll talk a little bit about, and now having this partnership to be included with the VDPs on fusionZONE sites. It gives us a great opportunity to talk a little bit about video. So not so much promotion of what we're doing, but trying to give you education about what's happening in the market today when it comes to video. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to talk about some of the challenges and the opportunities and some of the things that you can be doing, not just through this partnership, but thinking about from a video perspective as you go in, as we step into 2021. And then we'll have time for question and answers. And at the end, Mike will have a little bit more time to speak a little bit about the implementation of what the Wheels TV and the fusionZONE partnership will look like. So a little bit about Wheels TV. We help dealers, we help manufacturers, and we help shoppers connect through innovative video technologies, largely video test drives. So we're based in Boston. We're a small company, but we have kind of a really unique and amazing asset, which we can talk about a little bit. In many ways, we are recognized as the pioneers of video test drives. And today, having started video test drives back in 2005, we have now today the largest year, make, model library in existence. So we have about 6,000 two-minute video research reports. They're not overviews and they're not advertisements or advertorial. These are research-based, covering every year from 2008 to today, to present. We don't have 100% coverage, but we have a lot of coverage. So our recent study had us about 90% of every car that is on the road today, we would have, and we do have a video for that. So we're initially, when we started the business, we were deployed on MSN, to Yahoo, to AOL, and we currently power the research pages of Amazon vehicles. And now we're being pulled into relationships with dealers where they want to get this video content right on the VDP page, and that's why we're excited about our partnership with fusionZONE and what that means to dealers and what it means to shoppers and to consumers. So a little bit about the video economy. What is the video economy? And this is an interesting term that we're trying to communicate to our stakeholders. It's a reference to the new world of merchandising that sellers, and in our case dealers, must navigate, where video now plays a crucial role in the way that buyers make a purchase decision. And I think for many on the call, yeah, I think your interest is in video and you may see video as an opportunity, but you may not be aware that this is an absolute dominant role that video plays in the purchase decision making. But it exists. Video exists everywhere. Everywhere a shopper goes and where they research, and to every point of decision making, video now plays a role, and it cannot be underestimated and it can't be overlooked. So we'll share some of the thoughts about why that is today. But beforehand, I think the one thing that I'd like you to take away from our conversation is that video is one of the most important merchandising initiatives that you can get started with today. And you can do it in an affordable way, which Mike will talk a little bit at the end about as well. And what this will do for you is to drive increased sales in 2021, which I think everyone on the call is keenly interested in. So in this new video economy, the way people shop, the way people, and the way that people research for products and the content that helps them make the right decision for themselves has changed. And it has changed for good. It's squarely on video. And of note, this was happening pre-pandemic, but as you can imagine, the shift towards people staying at home and shopping for home has increased the value and the importance of video. And after the pandemic ends, it will not revert back. It will be the way it is now in terms of people using these kind of digital tools and video first in this new video economy. So to that end, we do speak a little bit about how video is on the rise and video is up and coming. But in actuality, that's no longer true. It is now the absolute dominant force for people who are looking to research and make purchase decisions. So that's a message that we wanted to share with you today about what has changed and what it means for you as a dealer. And in this kind of new video economy, there's going to be winners and there's going to be losers. There's going to be retailers and dealers that actually adapt to the change, that understand what's happening from a consumer's point of view, and then adapt and implement that type of merchandising on their sites. And then there will be some that will not do that, and they're going to fall behind. And so that's another very strong way to say, when you look at what's happening in the shift in consumers and their adoption of video, adapt and win, or do not adapt and fall behind. You'll be less competitive, and you'll be missing opportunities, as we'll talk about. And then we only have to look at the numbers and the data to support this. Today, 91% of all shoppers now prefer to have a full motion product video overview when they're looking and considering a product, when you consider it over a traditional text-based platform. So important to notice that. And I wanted to speak just a little bit more about some stats. So additional stats do actually prove this out, that video is the dominant player in the driving increased sales. And we'll talk about a variety of video types that are used by marketers and that get shoppers interested. But our focus really today, and through our partnership with fusionZONE, is on what we call purchase influencing informational videos, so research videos. So if you look at today, information intensive videos, right? And so in this case, video test drives that are those type of content videos are actually watched by 66%. 2 or more times. So it shows you that when you have a video that is very specific to the product and very detailed and information rich, that people will return back to it many times. And today now what we're seeing as well is that 85% of shoppers who watch a product video are more likely to buy that product. And that number has increased by 15% over the last 3 years in itself. And this, again, is pre-pandemic. So that number is almost assuredly increasing. And then when you look at the placement of video in terms of its influence, when you put a video and text next to each other, 72% of shoppers are going to be actually picking and choosing that video to learn about a product. And then if you get to the point where you talk about what's happening within video in terms of email marketing, this is an amazing stat that shows that if you can actually take video and put it into an email campaign, you'll get a 96% click-through rate increase, in this case back to a VDP or to a sales page. So really important and really interesting stats that talk about where the consumer is now when it comes to video. So I want you to think about this shift of video and think about platforms, the way that we live our lives from a social way, the way that we interact with social platforms, and think about the way that we live our lives when we're shopping online. And we only have to look to Facebook and to Twitter, and these are two platforms that did not necessarily originate as mainly visual, but now today Facebook and Twitter are majority video. So that is an absolute transition from the photos, which are still very, very important. But when you look at the usage, it is absolutely video first for both of those platforms. So you think about social, you get up every day, you look at your social platforms, you're scrolling and you're seeing and interacting with more and more video content every day. So that's the way that we interact with social on a regular basis. But when you think about how we then transition from social to the way that we shop online, you know, our expectations for video are really being set every single day by the likes of Amazon, Zappos, Walmart, and Wayfair, who all right now today, and I think as shoppers, you will have encountered this, have increasingly more and more video available. And those videos are product videos, not necessarily review videos, and they're definitely not advertorial videos. They're basically review video, research videos. They're hyper-personalized, they're user-friendly experience, and it is something that that really sets that expectation for the shopper. And think about it as well, particularly on Amazon. And I'll share a personal experience of just myself using Amazon. It's taking, you know, where they sell a high utility, low emotional product on Amazon, and actually in Walmart and Wayfair and Zappos too. But take, for example, on Amazon, a product like a razor or knives, really heavily invested into having video product overviews at that point. During the pandemic, I grew a beard, first time in my whole life. So I needed to trim it up, and the first thing I did is go to Amazon and I searched for razors. Razors were about $37 that I was looking at, and I looked at several of them, and I only really researched and went deeper on those that had actual videos. So here I was looking on Amazon, kind of a high utility but a low emotional product, and I spent a lot of time watching videos. So somehow Amazon knows exactly what I'm thinking in terms of how I make my purchase decision. So, but when you think about the way that we live our social lives, the way that we shop online, and then we transition into how we go out and we look and try to search for cars, right? This becomes a challenge for us, where you actually are going to a dealer's website, but that expectation that is being set by the likes of the social platforms and the way that we shop online have not been met. So, you know, I give the example of the $37 shaver. But when I spend 20 minutes, you know, researching that through video. Then when I come to a dealer site, I don't necessarily have that same experience for a $37,000 vehicle, which is a highly emotional connected product. So there we're falling a little bit short. So if you are, and as our partnership will unveil with fusionZONE, you're in good company if you don't have video and on your VDPs, right? 95% of the tens of thousands of dealers do not have this on the road video content on their site. We'll talk a little bit about what that means and what kind of video actually is the most effective. But 95% do not have on the road video. So of the hundreds of facts and figures and stats, here's the one I think that you should know. Before 70% of every purchased vehicle today, 70% of those people have watched a minimum of 30 minutes of on-the-road video. So 30 minutes online watching video before they actually make that purchase. And just to be clear, this is not inclusive of photos or inclusive of 360 spins, and now some 360 spins have some informational content into it, or even with a live walk around. So that 30 minutes of watching video is what we would classify as the video product that we produce, which is an on-the-road, independent, behind the wheel, a walk-through, a walk-around of the actual model video. So this shift really, if you think about it, has caused challenges and pain points, right? Challenges for the OEMs who can't make enough video content. And if they do make content, it's It's maybe not in the right format to be able to share for dealers to have that technology to be able to deploy it. And this is the reason why we do see a lot of video content in the advertisement space, these little short clip videos, but you don't see this kind of high quality on the road video content that sits on a dealer's SRP or VDP or special pages. And so those are challenges for the OEMs. It's a challenge for the dealers. And the pain point really comes to your shoppers. Your shoppers have those expectations met from the social platforms. They have their expectations met from the way that they buy everywhere else online. And when they come to a dealer site, this is the challenge, right? And this is the pain point for them. They really want and expect video, but they actually then bounce and then they go over to YouTube, or they go to Car and Driver, or they go to Motor Trend or third-party portals. And once they do that, you've lost them, and you don't control that kind of opportunity to engage them and to convert them. And so this is something of a special thing for dealers to be looking at. But the natural reaction is from a lot of dealers that we talk about, say, well, let's just make a video for every car in the lot. But most dealers are pragmatic and don't realize and don't feel like they have the time or the ability or even the budget to create a video content that their audience is now craving. We have seen some do this with the live video walkarounds, and those have absolute role within the decision-making process, these kind of VIN-specific videos. But when you want to go out there and if you have 150 cars or 200 cars and you want to engage those customers or prospects on your site, to be able to go out there and to film each and every one of those vehicles, it's whether you're doing it internally or outsourced, it takes a lot of time. If things get busy, you're not getting video up for every car that you want. It's logistically troublesome, and then it's, of course, you're going to have hit or miss in terms of the quality. And we talk a little bit too about the quality of these VIN specific video walkarounds. That personalized video is really critical and important to that process. So it doesn't have to be perfect. And a lot of them are not perfect, but that's actually humanizing that. So it's actually a net positive thing. But we always talk about that it's not either or, it's both. It's about having those VIN specific videos and visual content, but also complemented by having the content that they are watching, but is not available on dealer site, which is on the road video test drives. So a little bit about the solution. So, the biggest opportunity today that we think is within auto dealership marketing is actually video test drives. So it's about recognizing that consumer behavior is a force, and that the dealership marketers can't ignore that. And as I just said, as well, is that it's not about VIN specific content only, right? That's no longer enough, because people are watching VIN specific information videos. They are looking and engaging at the photos. 85% of everyone that comes to a SRP, VDP roughly are engaging with those photos. But it's important to recognize that buyers want to watch this video, and statistically proven that they are watching this type of on-the-road video. And so it's important to recognize that and to be able to take that content and put it in the people's hands where they are at the very right time. So I'm going to play a little bit of this video here, just to give you a few seconds of the kind of quality of the video and what the look and feel is. It's going to be a little jittery because of what's happening with Zoom in terms of the bandwidth, but I'll play that real quick here for you.
The 2019 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 comes to the full-size pickup marketplace 450 pounds lighter than its predecessor, yet with more flexibility, strength, and capability for work.
So this gives you a kind of an understanding of the quality that you can have, which we suggest is very high quality. We typically use a mix of OEM footage as well as our own footage that we go out. So we're in the market, and we're if you look at us in WheelsTV in terms of differentiating ourselves from an advertisement agency or digital agency, is that we're researchers, we're writers, we're videographers that go out there and put the work into make these videos, these model videos, which are always incorporating the VIN specific or trim specific information that's on the lot. So, but this is a model video, and this is the type of content that your shoppers are watching, but this content is not being watched on your VDP or SRPs. It's being watched on another site. So a little bit about our library. So right now we have, as I mentioned, about 6,000 broadcast quality video test drives covering every year from 2008 to today. About 90% coverage, from Acura to Volvo. We cover all the major brands. So it's a video report for every car matched to your new news inventory. So no one is disappointed. So, that 90% coverage is really compelling and something that is a good value proposition for you as you look at having video put on. It's, high definition, and it sells the car in a kind of a neutral format. It is not an over effusive, and it's not a critical. And so that's why we always say we're OEM compliant, dealer friendly, and consumer friendly. And what we've seen is there's a variety of ways that we can track what happens in terms of adding this type of content onto your VDPs. But it's longer engagement times, so increased engagement across the page, doubles your viewing time, and more often than not, we're seeing shoppers watching more than just one video. So benefits, provides a video for almost every car, doubles your time on VDP, lowers your bounce rate. And what we found interestingly is that when you add this type of video content onto your site, we actually have seen an increase, somewhat up to 25% overall lift in lead submissions from across other kind of buttons on your site. This is a result of an engaged shopper. When someone's watching a video, it's one of the few times when they're experiencing your website, they're actually kind of leaning in and trying to learn information, and it's emotionally a driven way to communicate the product in the car. So we actually do see some increase in lift lead rates across your site. It boosts test drive appointments, accelerates the customer's path at the purchase. And as I said, it excites the customer in a way that you can't necessarily do with photos, that you can't do with spins, and you can't do even with the live walkarounds, which are very informative, but it doesn't give you that kind of behind the car, driving down the road. How would I look behind the car? And what does that car look like inside, for example, as I'm going down the road? So it's a critical aspect to have on your VDP. Selling more cars is ultimately, at the end of the day, what you all want to achieve. And so we think that adding this type of content onto your site is going to help you achieve that in a very, very good way. So we wanted to just talk a little bit about the different types of videos. We get this question a lot, and it kind of goes to, what's the difference between our videos, which we would call research videos, or information videos, which is in the bottom gray panel there. But there are advertising-based videos. There are review videos. There's also a discussion about short versus long videos. These are kind of the top questions that we get. So I thought I would share a little bit with you about how we look at this market and how we look at video. We are, more than anything, very, very big advocates, not just for our videos. In fact, we encourage dealers, any type of video is going to be important. Then specific video is critical. Personalized video from these platforms now that allow sales associates to be able to communicate directly to a shopper is really, really critical to the sales process. But each has a role. So if you look at advertising videos, those work really well, or what we call more advertorial, really work well on your social platforms, on your feeds, and Facebook and Twitter, and Instagram now, where you're really got a short time focused by the shopper, but they're at least getting some general awareness. Review videos are a part of those 24 points of touch points that a car shopper has when they're looking at a car. It's important for them to see that. They will look for that, and they'll get that typically at a YouTube, and they'll search for it. But what really works for dealers is to have control of the visual and video content that you can on a dealership, on your site. So on the SRP and the VDP, you don't want an advertorial video that's something that's over effusive. And if you want to share a video in any way to send to a prospect, you wouldn't send them an advertising-based video. You want to, get at the essence of trying to help them on their automotive research journey, which is to give them the information. We say 2 minutes of 2 hours of research in 2 minutes. So in 2 minutes, we cover in these videos everything that you need to know about the car. It's going through the car, the key attributes and the key features. And this is why we talk a lot about how sitting side by side with other video content is really important. We are able to kind of go into greater detail, research detail that sales associates couldn't do on the lot. And just a word too about short versus long videos. This is something that we get a lot of questions about. Well, there's a theory that people's attention span is like that of a goldfish. It's about 8 seconds. So if you don't grab someone within 8 seconds, you're going to lose them. And there is some, so the answer is short better than long, or the other way around. And it's actually, the way we look at it, it's actually a little bit of both. Short videos have a role to play. On the social platforms, a shorter video like of 10, 20, or 30 seconds is very, very effective on that platform. Putting a 2.5 minute video on that type of platform, maybe not as effective. You can look at some data. There's a company here that we work with on the video hosting side, and they did an analysis of 1.4 billion plays. What was more engaged, a 30-second video or a 2-minute video? And I think not having any polls on this webinar, Mike, I think that the majority of you would say actually the shorter video had more engagement than the 2-minute video, right? Based on people's time attention to time. But the reality is, over those 1.4 billion plays, the engagement rate between a 30-second video and a 2-minute video were approximately the same. So when you hear or are advised or reading about shorter is better than longer is that statistically it doesn't make sense. But if you go over 2 minutes, there is a kind of a downward engagement when you go over 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and then interestingly, 10 minutes, 12 minutes actually gets engagement back up. But the key is information-based video on your VDP is really what's going to help. So short video on your VDP is going to leave shoppers who are looking for information, it's going to leave them disappointed. So it's best to have information-rich content that's going to help them with their decision-making process on the VDP. So that's why I think we're excited about this opportunity with fusionZONE, is that, as I said, we're a small company with this really exceptional asset, which is, many dealers come and say, listen, you guys have a virtual time machine. So if you have a 2012 car or 13 or 14 or 15, or even 2008, we will have a video for that car. And what we found, particularly with pre-owned dealers on, and independents on the call, those are very, very important, because the level of interest by a shopper looking at a pre-owned vehicle, their anxiety goes up a little higher. So they're digging deep into, like, what does that car look like? How would I look behind a 2013 or 12 or a vehicle? So we've got you covered with that library. And so just kind of things to wrap up on, dealership marketing cannot make your websites more engaged. Your inventory can engage your customers. Your pricing and your incentives can definitely do that. And of course, fusionZONE websites can do that. But now through video test drives, you can now have that same kind of opportunity to engage your shoppers, and more importantly, to convert them. So I wanted to say one last thing, and then I'll turn it over to Mike, who can talk a little bit about the partnership. But in effect, is that a video is on the rise, is no longer really what we should be talking about. Video now today is as dominant as we've ever seen. So when you have video and you're using video in different variety of ways, you're going to engage customers and you're going to sell more cars. And to be able to now to have this library, and to be able to have the technology to put it right at the point where shoppers are making decisions, and I think it becomes a really compelling a relationship, and especially one that is exceptionally affordable for you to be able to do. So with that, I'll wrap by saying, Mike, thank you, and fusionZONE, thank you for the chance for WheelsTV to work with you. I think it's an exciting time during these challenges times to bring digital assets to you, and so that you can be successful. So Mike, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you, Chris. Next slide here is going to give you kind of a view on how this will look live on our fusionZONE websites. If you want to see more examples, you can actually go to our website. It's going to be fzautomotive.com/WheelsTV. And I'm going to go ahead and share that here in the chat so that everybody has it. But essentially what happens here is the website has your inventory. There's a bit of a feedback loop from our side to Wheels, matches the VIN up to, videos that kind of fit within that same frame. And then within that carousel that you'll see there, where there's photos included on the VDP, you'll also have that video included within. Some people have asked, hey, does having video content bog down the site, affect its load times? Not at all, not the case. Especially with it being inside that carousel like that, customers are still going to engage with photos and all the other materials as well. But again, the video is the big piece there. So just as Chris went through that example earlier, you're going to see on the road, a little bit of the interior. In a way, you're simulating a test drive from the safety of people's computer screens. So we think that it's really going to change the way that people interact and engage with our sites, and it's going to overall bring better quality of traffic to all of our sites. That'll go ahead and conclude our webinar session then for the day. Thank you, of course, for attending. And if you have any questions that come up later after the fact, again, feel free to contact info@fzautomotive.com. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everybody.